Alright guys, Norwich have just amazingly beat Watford by 3 goals to 0 at Vicarage Road. So, I mean, that is some result for Norwich. They played really well in the second half. First off, Norwich started off the better side, but I thought uh, after like the 10 minutes of play where they were on top, Watford started to get into it a bit more. And from then on, you're thinking Watford with like the individual talent of Josh King, Emmanuel Dennis, Musa Sissoko, Jacques Pedro. You're thinking, okay, that they should, probably go on to win this because they are starting to get on top. And Watford aren't that bad at scoring goals. I mean, they've scored 4 against Man United, 5 against Everton this season. They're not a bad goal scoring team, but defensively they can be quite bad, as they were today. And they weren't great in attack either. But the first half it was a bit of a dull game, to be honest. Not much really happening. The only real talking point was, should Emmanuel Dennis have been sent off, which I mean doesn't even matter in the end because he got sent off later on. But for me, I thought he was very lucky to get away with a straight red in the first half, because that is a poor tackle. Like he's lunged in, studs up, and he's gone right into Pierre how'd you say it? Les Malou I think that's it, Les Malou. He's gone straight into Les Malou's Achilles, and that could have badly injured him. Les Malou did try to get his own back about 5 minutes later with a not as bad challenge, but an unnecessarily aggressive challenge back on Emmanuel Dennis. But other than that, there really wasn't much in the first half. Second half, about 3 minutes in, Timu Pukki gets played through by McLean, and it was a bit of a poor ball by McLean. It didn't go straight into Pukki's feet. It was a bit overhit, and Pukki and Cabaselli, I think it was, are both running to get there. Cabaselli stumbles a little bit, but Pukki definitely puts both hands on Cabaselli's shoulder, and I'm not sure Cabaselli is falling over unless Pukki does that. So for me, I thought that might have been a foul. It was a bit 50-50 for me. I can understand why it wasn't given, because Cabaselli was definitely off balance, and also it is a contact sport. But at the same time, Cabaselli definitely, for me, doesn't completely fall over unless Pukki does it. But Pukki picks up the ball, keeps it in play, crosses it to Sargent. It wasn't a great cross because it was quite difficult for Sargent, but Sargent did brilliantly to flick it onto the crossbar. Very similar to Olivier Giroud's goal against Crystal Palace 5 years ago. It bounces in off the crossbar, and wait for goal line technology to confirm whether it was a goal, and it was correctly. And that is Sargent's first goal in the Premier League. And he did get a second goal later on, which reminds me a bit of when Peter Crouch. Well, I was only 2 at the time, so I say it reminds me, but it doesn't really, because I wasn't watching football then. But it's a bit like when Peter Crouch went, I think, something like 18 games when he first joined Liverpool without scoring. And then against Wigan, I believe it was, in December 2005, he scored twice in one game. So it's just like what's the saying? Just like buses, you wait for one and then 2 come along. But before Sargent's second, there was the small matter of a 10-minute break because of the stadium floodlights stopped working. And I mean, it genuinely wouldn't surprise me with Watford's owners, because Watford's owners, they don't come across as like the I don't know what the word is, but like the most Um, I can't think of a way to describe it, but they don't come across as very like advertisable for how a football owner should be. Like there's obviously something going on with it, like they own I think it's Udinese in the Italian league. So when they do a lot of transfers between the two clubs, so that's not a great look for a start. And also the way that they can't make a manager stay for longer than a season. Well, at least it feels that way. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they have just seen the Norwich have scored. They've gone 1-0 up. We're struggling to win this game. Let's just try and get it called off. But the lights, I think they were fixed eventually. But before they were fixed, Mike Dean did get both captains and managers to come across and agree that there was enough light to continue play. I mean, it wasn't great lighting, but it was definitely enough to see what's going on. Although maybe not for the Watford defenders, because Josh Sargent did get a second through a brilliant cross from Milo Rashica. And Sargent did really well to get there before his marker and head it into the corner and make it 2-0. But yeah, from then on, Norwich pretty much had the game won, and Emmanuel Dennis got sent off just before 15 minutes of stoppage time was given. It was. I thought it was a bit of a harsh yellow for Dennis's second, but I don't think he probably shouldn't have been on the pitch at that point anyway. He's gone for the ball with his foot high in the air, and he's caught the Norwich player slightly on the foot whilst both feet are in the air. So he wasn't a great tackle, and definitely was a foul. But for me, a yellow card was a bit harsh. But as I say, I don't think he should have been on the pitch at that point. And then Moussa Sissoko scored an absolute screamer for Watford just at the start of added time. Ball over the top by the left back. I forget his name, his new signing. It'll come to me in a sec. Is it Hassan Kamara? I think. Yeah, ball over the top. And Sissoko, he's just watching it come over his shoulder. He's got his foot out to volley it. And at some point he loses sight of the ball because he can't see it over his shoulder and then look there with the ball going behind him without not seeing it, and he volleys it into the net. Just a bit of a shame, he was just offside. And then the substitute, Juraj Kuchka, did score an own goal to make it 3-0 to Norwich. Which, I mean, it just wasn't needed, was it, for Watford, really? Cross from Adam Eder, who I thought had a good game. And Kuchka just turned it into his own net. It was too close to Bachmann for him to have any chance to do anything about it, to be honest. But yeah, not Norwich. That was it. Finished 3-0. Game over after 15 minutes of stoppage time. I think that's got to be a record. I was thinking if there was a goal right at the end of the game. I remember the Premier League record for the latest goal was Dirk Kuyt scored a equaliser against Arsenal in 2011 in the 102nd minute of the game. And that was after Robin van Persie put Arsenal ahead in the 98th minute. So that was ridiculous. But yeah, anyway, it finished 3-0. And I was thinking Norwich started a very attacking team. They started 4 forward players effectively. It was a 4-4-2, but also a 4-2-4 at the same time. They started off with Sorensen in midfield, but he got injured, and Kenny McLean came on. But the front four of Rashica on the left, Sargent on the right, and Ida and Pookie down the middle, that's very attacking, which I think was a good idea by Dean Smith in the end, because both Sargent and Rashica both proved that they can get back and help in when they haven't got the ball. So it was a good move by Dean Smith. But I also feel as though had this been like up against a trickier opponent than Watford, with all due respect, I think that could have gone badly for Norwich. But I also think maybe Dean Smith wouldn't have gone with that tactic for that sort of game. But yeah, Norwich definitely shown something over the past 2 weeks that that they can possibly stay up, and at the moment they aren't in the relegation zone. They've just overtaken Watford in the table, and they'll be hoping to keep it that way. Watford, it looks like they are a bit in trouble, because their form recently has been awful, to be honest. They've had a few good wins this season at times when you really didn't expect it, beating Man United at home, beating Everton away, both by 3-goal margins. But they just haven't picked up enough points. And I think it's not going to be long before Claudio Ranieri loses his job, I'm afraid, because that's the way Watford do it as a club. But yeah, anyway, finish 3-0. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.